just as dangerous as this whole line continues to move through.
Yeah, this is a dangerous situation. 83 miles per hour gust in Mason City. That is enough to produce some damage. So again, if you hear that, you're in North Iowa, you're in southern Minnesota, you're thinking, okay, these severe thunderstorm warnings, just as serious. This is a step up above a normal severe thunderstorm warning where you get gusts of 60 miles per hour. This is 80, 90 miles per hour. That's in Mason City. Let's go back to that tornado warning. We didn't talk about that enough, but in southern Minnesota, this is again moving towards parts of Freeborn County. This is moving through the western Freeborn County, really, just to the west of Albert Lee. So right now it's passed through Keister. It's going to move east of Wells. It's moving in towards Foster and Walters. If you were in Foster or Walters, get inside now. You have zero time. It's into Alden, probably in about 5 minutes. There's that rotation. Yeah, it's right near Walters, just south of Mansfield, and moving maybe around Conger right there. It's going to move probably pretty close to Armstrong. Armstrong in that tornado warning. Take shelter if you're in Armstrong and Alden. You got less than a couple minutes in those spots. If you're in Conger, you're really, really close to this. You need to get inside.
I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on.
Yeah, let's put a storm track on that. It's moving towards Clarks Grove as well and up towards New Richland and Geneva as we work towards through about the next 20 minutes. Again, this thing probably moving at 80 miles per hour. These things are moving quickly, very quickly. You do not step outside to go look at it. First of all, you won't see it, but second of all, this will be there before you can really make quality action. Get inside now while you're in these places like Charleston, like Manchester, and up towards places like Geneva and New Richland. And if this stays together, this will move towards Steele County and then maybe even Dodge County in the northern parts of Freeborn County as well. So we'll keep an eye on this tornado warning. Do we still have that tornado warning out in Floyd County as well?
Correct. Yep. We have the tornado warning, so let's go ahead and go down there. Okay. So this is the tornado warning that we have in effect. We have that in effect until 7:30, so we are coming up now on about 7 o'clock. I believe it's 6:58. So we have about another half an hour on this tornado warning that is in effect for Floyd County. So again, we were showing you that area of rotation, but if you're now just joining us, this is that tornado warning that remains in effect for Floyd County until 7:30. That includes Marble Rock, Floyd itself, Charles City, the city of Charles City included in that tornado warning, and you're seeing the reflectivity there. So this is what we're looking at when we're looking at rain, potential for hail. So this is just showing a lot of rain right now. I'm going to switch this over to the product that shows us wind speeds. This is the velocity where we're looking at for areas of rotation. So zooming back into this, and we're kind of competing with a couple different radar sites, but you can see clearly right in around Marble Rock.
Yeah, right near Marble Rock.
Switch it back and forth. I'm going to
like downtown Marble Rock. There was a tornado that passed just to the south of downtown Marble Rock in late August earlier this year. That was the last one for a viewing area, and it looks like we got another one potentially on the ground moving through pretty much that exact same spot, although this time it's moving towards the northeast. It's about to move into Oakwood. If you're in Oakwood, if you're not inside, you're not in your safe space, you need to be in that safe space now. This is a this could be a grounded tornado. Again, that rotation is looking pretty strong right there. Charles City, that's going to be there very soon. If you're not in your safe space in Charles City, if you don't have a way to receive weather reports, you do that real quickly. Again, we are also receiving reports of power outages, and as these storms move through all these spots, there's a good chance your power is going to go out. If you want to stay with us and continue watching, we are live on KMT.com. You can use your phone or you can use your laptop. Hopefully that's well charged and we can reach you and get you some more weather alerts. But it is vital that you have a way to receive weather alerts because we've been talking about these tornadoes and the severe thunderstorm warning. This isn't it. We got more winds coming tonight, and those winds are still gusting 60, 70 miles per hour, and they're going to shake things around as well. You could even see a little bit more damage or more power outages just from that. So let's go back to that tornado warning right here. This is now moving in towards Freeborn County. It looks like the approximate rotation is just around right there, just to the south of Wells, just to the probably just to the west of Conger. And just moving north of Mansfield, east of Foster, east of Walters, or maybe in Walters right here. And that's going to continue moving towards the northeast pretty quickly, 80 miles per hour. It'll be in Alden soon, very soon. If you're in Alden, get in, be in your safe spot quickly. And like I was telling to Floyd County, North Iowa, have a way to receive those weather alerts. This is moving towards New Richland, Heartland, Ellendale, and Manchester very, very quickly, 80 miles per hour. So this is going to be problematic for the area. And so we have 2 tornado warnings in our viewing area, and there's a lot of strong winds pretty much through the rest of the area. Right now, again, we don't have a confirmed report that this is on the ground, but it very well could be. And
Yeah.
sometimes you see.
I mean, based on that rotation, I mean, we're seeing a similar rotation here in western parts of Freeborn County, but that similar rotation signature there in Floyd County, and that's why these two tornado warnings need to be taken very seriously as we are tracking these storms continuing to move to the north and northeast. But let's go ahead, Ryan, if you want to switch it over to the Albert Lee live eye, I believe it's in the top of my show there. We have a live eye there in downtown Albert Lee looking towards the west and southwest. So we are going to continue to track this entire line of thunderstorms. Right now, 61 degrees in Albert Lee, so it is prime. There's a lot of moisture. There's a lot of juice energy to work with these thunderstorms ahead of the line. And we are seeing a lot of lightning with it, but we are also looking towards the west, towards that line of thunderstorms. And I believe we can actually, let's pan the camera around a little bit. I'm going to actually step out of the way and give you just a look at that live eye. And we're going to move the camera here just a little bit. All right, and we are going to keep a close eye on where this whole line of thunderstorms is moving in around Albert Lee. Albert Lee, you do not have the tornado warning in effect. It is just to the west of you, but we are still looking at dangerous thunderstorms moving in Freeborn County, across southern Minnesota, and into north Iowa. And these storms are going to continue to stay fairly dangerous right on through the next several hours. And even after this line of thunderstorms moves through, we've been talking about it today, we talked about it yesterday, we're going to see a secondary surge of winds, of extreme wind gusts of 60 to 80 miles per hour. That's going to be a dangerous threat continuing into the early part of tonight. So while we're looking at that, we're going to switch back over to the radar product, and I'm going to go ahead and look at that, what we have going on. So right now you can see that tornado warning still remains in effect for Freeborn County. It is also into Faribault County. This is going to affect areas around Clarks Grove, staying just west of Albert Lee, but it is eventually going to be crossing the I-35 corridor north of Albert Lee as that area of rotation which we are focused in on, where you see. This is what we're looking at. You can see it clearly. It may be not a very tight couplet, tight rotation, but you can see where that dark blue is and the green. That's the area of rotation. You got different winds, different motion, and that is why the National Weather Service has issued the tornado warning for areas west of I-35, west of Albert Lee, for that potential of a tornado developing or may have been already confirmed on the ground. So we are keeping a close eye on that area. And one of the other reasons is these storms are moving so quickly. We're getting radar updates every 5 minutes or so. So now we are looking at that whole line of a powerful line of thunderstorms, not only capable of producing a tornado, but also some very powerful wind gusts of 75 to even 90 miles per hour. These storms are booking it. They have so much energy, so much momentum to work with, that while they are moving so fast, they're going to be capable of producing those same winds, the same speeds that they are currently moving with as we continue to the north and east. Looks like we got an update. I'm going to step off screen just so I can kind of look at some of the stuff that's going on here. We do also have Anthony Monzon. He is live in Albert Lee. Let's go ahead and switch it over to the Albert Lee live eye. I just want to show you how much we have a lot of lightning. We're still tracking that whole line of thunderstorms, and Anthony is seeing a very similar situation out there as he is live in Albert Lee. So I'm going to toss it out to Anthony with an update on what he is seeing.
Yeah, that's certainly right, Aaron. You know, this rain just started picking up and intensifying a little bit, maybe just a minute ago. We've been seeing that lightning moving into the area for a good, 30, 45 minutes now. But it seems like now this is certainly starting to approach a lot more. If I just step out here into the rain, you can see, yeah, my hair's getting pretty wet pretty quickly. Lightning bolts are coming in faster. We've got some thunder, of course. And again, as far as wind, we haven't seen too much right now. But I'll tell you, I'm here outside. We've got a bunch of people with me over here watching out here, seeing as the weather develops. Again, a couple beers and wine going on. Again, we're waiting to see. We all just received that warning on our phone just a couple of minutes ago, that emergency alert, again, from the National Weather Service of that tornado warning. So certainly keeping an eye on that. The tornado sirens were going off just a couple of minutes ago as well. So we're standing by. Again, it looks like things are picking up out here, but of course, we'll bring you any updates as soon as we have them here from Albert Lee. Live in Albert Lee, Anthony Monzon, KIMT News 3.
All right, thank you, Anthony, and stay safe out there. Go inside because we are tracking this pretty dangerous line of thunderstorms. While we're talking about that tornado warning just to the west of town, notice this whole line extending there to the just west of I-35 there. That's going to be moving into downtown Albert Lea. So if you live in Albert Lea, while we're not talking about a tornado warning for the city itself, there still remains a severe thunderstorm warning with winds the storm's capable of producing wind gusts in excess of 60, 70. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about wind gusts of 80, 85 miles per hour with this whole line of thunderstorms that is currently moving through Freeborn County. You can see in the city itself, got a lot of rain. We saw that on with Anthony Monzon's live shot, but you can see to the west of town, west of I-35, this is where the stronger part of the storm still remains, and that is what we are more concerned about, because we're going to get a surge of some pretty strong wind gusts coming through, but also keeping a close eye on that current tornado warning.
Now, one thing we're also getting word is we're keeping track with the National Weather Service or at least the chat that's online here, and we are getting reports of a tree on a house in Algona. So it's definitely possible here that we are seeing trees down, maybe even power lines, just because of how strong these winds are, as we still have these 2 tornado warnings in effect right now making its way over top of Charles City. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the velocity at the moment. Now, what's the problem here is that we are kind of in between multiple radar sources between Des Moines and even La Crosse. So anything here in purple you're seeing is something known as range folding. It's starting to kind of interfere with that product that we were originally looking at. But we are still right now seeing what could be maybe just a little bit of rotation now passing over Charles City, making its way just south of Caldwell at the moment. And the thing is, we have that range folding, so it's going to get a little messy here on the velocity. Aaron, if you could go back up towards that Freeborn County as well.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Let's go look at Freeborn County. So still, it's kind of a messy situation, and we're not seeing just a well-defined area of rotation that we see a lot with those big supercell type thunderstorms that we track in the spring, summer, and even early fall type months. But we are seeing at least some rotation embedded in the overall line itself. There west of I-35, where you see some of those darker blues and the bright greens showing up there, that's some area of at least some rotation. It's strong, don't get me wrong, but it's not a very tight, well-pronounced area of rotation. But even with that, we're so far away from the radar site, it is still something that we need to take very seriously as these storms are racing to the north and east.
Now, one thing we do have to note about here is that it has now started to move across I-90. And one thing that Aaron did mention is that we won't see those tight velocity couplets that we typically see in the summer, meaning that these kind of rotation, really just rotation in general, will be embedded into these thunderstorms, meaning that it won't be able to really see it because, one, they could either be completely rain wrapped or they're just moving so quickly you won't even realize it until they start to make their way through. So one thing we do want to point out here is there was that, if you could freeze it by any chance, right where that couplet was initially, you could see some of those heavier winds now just to the north there of around Foster, just to the south of Foster as well. Now, if we put that a little bit in motion, notice how it starts to fall apart. We're now just seeing more of these linear winds across I-90 at the moment, moving north of Albert Lea. So I believe Anthony was in southwestern portion of near.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, okay. So we're still seeing just some of those stronger winds. And even though you may not have a tornado warning over top of you, you still have those severe thunderstorm warnings. Another thing is gusty outflow winds. So winds moving outside of these thunderstorms could go in excess of even 65 to even 75 miles per hour. So something we're definitely going to continue to watch, because you can still see these stronger kind of presentations in the velocity right now along I-90. So especially if you know anyone traveling along the I-90, maybe moving eastward, crossing through Albert Lea towards Austin, or even moving north, even in Owatonna, you're going to start to notice that those winds will really start to pick up as these thunderstorms move across the region. So we're going to take another look here at
Go look at the wider picture here.
Yeah, we'll go from a wider picture. You can see them stretching all the way just south of the Twin Cities, through Mason City, and even into southern Iowa at the moment. This is just a ginormous line that started towards Nebraska, has now made its way across our viewing area and started to make its way now into portions predominantly of southern Minnesota. So right now, if you zoom in a little closer to Mason City there for us there, Aaron, notice that the heavier showers are now starting to move on out of there. But the thing is, we still have that wind threat behind this line. So just because the showers and the thunderstorms are starting to make their way on out of here does not mean that it's safe to start to move out of the houses by any means. We're still going to see that wind threat. We're also going to start to see some more showers and maybe a little bit more of a thunderstorm threat behind it.
Looks like we got a report from the Charles City area of nickel to quarter-sized hail. That was about 7:07, so about 5 minutes ago, of some quarter-sized hail. And if you look at the radar picture there, I mean, that pretty much tells you what's happening there. There's a pretty good area of reflectivity, and that's one of the reasons why that was from the fire department in the Charles City area, showing at least nickel to quarter-sized hail. Not really going to be talking about very large hail with these thunderstorms. This is more of a tornado and wind threat that we are faced with, but even that, we still at least saw some decent hail, nickel to quarter size, in and around Charles City. And if you live in Charles City, keep in mind we still have those warnings that are in effect. Looking at Charles City right now, that tornado warning still in effect for Floyd County until 7:30. But thing to keep in mind with this, folks, is these storms are racing to the north and east, so we're likely going to see that tornado warning allowed to expire as the storm is starting to move more into areas around Osage and eventually towards Chickasaw County and there to the New Hampton area fairly quickly. And that is where we have those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. And if you are just joining us right now, we have been tracking these thunderstorms since they were moving through basically western parts of Iowa. And we have gotten several reports of just many things happening across the area. There have been power outages reported in and around Clear Lake across much of Iowa. We have had wind gusts reported, actually recorded at the Mason City Municipal Airport, an 83-mile-per-hour wind gust. That is with a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you are in a severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning, you need to take them both just as seriously because these are dangerous winds that are currently moving on through.
I will say that we have a report of hail in Charles City.
Yep, a nickel to quarter-sized hail.
Okay.
So we saw that report. That was from the fire department, the emergency management in around Charles City. We saw that with the pretty high reflectivity there. And I'm going to actually switch it over just to the hail product. I know we're not really talking about a lot of hail. You can see that area of light gray just really not showing much. So that's why we're more focused in on a wind and a tornado threat with these this dangerous line of thunderstorms. And as Ryan mentioned, we're kind of in between two different radar sites, so we're having a little bit of trouble really seeing if there's a well-defined area of rotation. We're not seeing quite that as much, so that is why I do believe the National Weather Service will allow that tornado warning to expire even before 7:30. But still, keep in mind, while that is going on, we still have several severe thunderstorm warnings that remain in effect. And I'm actually going to switch this over, so just bear with me just for one moment here, just to kind of show you exactly what we have going on. So this whole line of thunderstorms, we have those severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. And I'm going to turn off the tornado warning.
Aaron, we did just get another discussion from the Storm Prediction Center regarding this line of showers and storms that we are watching at this moment.
Okay.
They are announcing for damaging wind gusts are likely a tornado is possible, especially in northern areas of this. So that is predominantly across northeastern Iowa and into southeastern Minnesota as this line continues to push off towards the north and east.
Okay. And if we put a whole track on this entire line of thunderstorms, I'm going to do a pretty large track with this whole line. I mean, it extends pretty far down to the south and east. I mean, we're talking about these storms being into areas around Rochester probably in the next half an hour, maybe at most 45 minutes, but I think a little bit sooner than that because these storms are booking it at 70, around 70 miles per hour. They are moving at a fairly fast clip. So while we have that going on, we still have just a lot of active weather that is happening across the whole, pretty much the entire region, seeing this, at least some effect of this entire storm system. I'm going to put this into motion here. Let's go ahead and do like a 6-hour loop just of the overall satellite picture. So what I want you to look at is going back in time, back to 6 hours earlier. You can see that whole storm system tracking across Nebraska, that entire line of powerful thunderstorms moving through. And these storms are going to be producing those very strong wind gusts of upwards of 70, 80 miles per hour. We've gotten several reports. I mentioned the one we had in Mason City at the municipal airport, 83 mile per hour gusts. That is what we can expect for areas further to the east of Charles City now over towards New Hampton. Likely going to see some very dangerous winds. Waterloo, if you have family there, they're going to be seeing some pretty strong wind gusts as well. And this whole line is moving to the north and east, and eventually it is moving through Albert Lea right now. We don't have, I believe we still maybe have that tornado warning that's in effect just north and west of Albert Lea, but you can still see that whole core the core itself of the storm, we're getting some heavy downpours of rain in and around the city, but we're also getting some pretty strong wind gusts of, I wouldn't be surprised if we were talking about wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour, maybe even upwards of that, now crossing the I-35 corridor. So I know there's probably a lot of truckers pulled off at some of the truck stops in around the I-35, I-90 interchange. Rightfully so, because we're looking at those very strong wind gusts about to move through. So Ryan just highlighted this area that we were monitoring for that area of rotation where you see some of those darker blues and the brighter greens showing up there just around Freeborn, just north and west of downtown Albert Lea. That is where we are keeping a close eye on potential for some rotation. While we're looking at that, moving to the north and east, it is not as strong as it was about 10 to 15 minutes ago. So that is a good sign. That is what we want to see. If we don't see any tornadoes, great. But we are still tracking potential for very powerful wind gusts that can still easily do just as much damage as an EF1 tornado. So that is why any warnings that are in effect, if you are in a warning, whether that is a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, take them both just as seriously. Wait till the storms pass. Just wait this whole system out because we're looking at quieter conditions as we get into tomorrow and Friday. So again, here is that tornado warning for those just joining us right now. It is coming up on about 7:17, and we have that tornado warning that remains in effect until 7:30, so another 13 minutes on that for parts of Freeborn County. And like I mentioned, looks like Siri's trying to talk to me, but we are looking at that storm moving to the north and east and eventually may see that tornado warning be diminished or at least expired as it continues to move off.
And it looks like the tornado warning that was over Charles City has also been allowed to expire here.
Okay.
Just in the last minute.
Okay, and that is good news. If we don't see any more tornado warnings, great. But like I said, we are still tracking this line of dangerous thunderstorms that is producing embedded tornadoes. That's why we have a few tornado warnings, but the whole line itself stretching there from just around Mankato where you see all that red coming through that whole line, that's where we're going to see those just powerful wind gusts. And while we keep getting more severe thunderstorm warnings being issued on this entire line, we just got another one there. So every time you see this showing up there, that is a new severe thunderstorm warning or potentially a tornado warning that is being issued, and that they're just basically extending those warnings along this entire line. So go ahead and click on the warning there, Ryan. If you just click on the icon there. So let's take a look at this new severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like it's in effect for areas, you can pan the camera down just a little bit there, areas south of Blooming Prairie, affecting areas around Austin. And notice what we're talking about here. We have that severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 7:45. They are putting a tornado possible tag on that just because while it's not a tornado warning, there are still some indications of some rotation in the line itself, and a tornado could still spin up very quickly. So that is why I said take these just as seriously as you would do with a tornado warning. So stay inside, go to a basement, the lowest level of your home. If you don't have a basement, an interior closet, bathroom away from windows, just keep you and your family safe and just wait out these storms as they are very dangerous moving through areas such as Austin. And we are starting to get some indications where you see some of those darker blues showing up there. You can see up here in the banner where we go from green to bright blue to dark blue. That's where we're talking about some of the more higher wind gusts that are currently moving through. We have that in Albert Lea, crossing I-35, crossing I-90. This is still a little ways away from the radar, but those could be indications of some fairly powerful wind gusts in excess of 80 miles per hour that could be moving through the Austin area and continuing to track to the north and east, affecting more parts of Mower County, but eventually towards the Olmsted County area, Stewartville, Rochester included in that. So we are going to keep a close eye on this entire line of thunderstorms that is moving into southern Minnesota at the moment. So this is pretty much a rare day. We have not seen this much active weather in the month of December. Minnesota itself has only recorded one severe thunderstorm warning during the month of December. So we've already pretty much topped that, and this is going to be some of a historic day.
Yeah, so I was going to say we have reports of, we have a Facebook Live up right now, so you can tune in then if you lose power, but a lot of power outages and people tuning in online. Again, if you actually want to watch our on-the-air coverage, you can do so at KIMT.com, not just at Facebook. But right now, Forest City, we have a report with no power, Riceville, no power, power flickering in Austin, Minnesota. So there's a lot, parts of Mason City without power. We know that there was places, I think, near Clear Lake, that also saw the power without. Small hail in Riceville, no power in Hampton. Someone asked, has the tornado warning in North Iowa expired? And
yep, let's go ahead and pull that back up there. So it looks like they did allow that tornado warning that was in effect for Floyd County that has now expired. That is great news. They have not extended the tornado warning at all to the north and east, but what we do still have is a tornado warning in effect in southern Minnesota in portions of Freeborn County for at least the next 9 minutes on that. So there is still at least some rotation, but based on what we have seen, based on what we are looking at with the radar picture and the velocity, there is not as well-defined area of rotation right now. So that is great news, and hopefully it stays that way. But still a rather impressive line of thunderstorms that is currently moving through all of southern Minnesota and North Iowa. And what I want to do right now, I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to the radar picture. And what I'm going to do is I want to show the radar itself, but I'm going to show you some of the storm reports that we have gotten over the last several minutes, at least over the last hour or so. So what we see around Charles City, there's been hail reports. And I'm going to go ahead and click on some of these just so you can see what we are looking at here. Some wind gusts of 55 miles per hour. Not surprised by that. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some wind gusts that are even higher than that. Another wind gust in around the Charles City Airport of a 55 mile per hour gust. So those are still some pretty significant winds. It looks like there is a report of some damage in and around the city of Rudd, damage to some railroad tracks.
Also damage in Garner being reported, no power in Eagle Grove. And someone even reported power flickering in Rochester, which the strong winds and the storms haven't made it to Rochester at the moment, but they will be soon.
Yeah, they are getting really close and stuff. And so this is what we were talking about a little bit ago. We had that report of an 83 mile per hour wind gust in and around the Mason City Airport. So it's showing up as Clear Lake, but it was registered, it was recorded at the Mason City Municipal Airport, an 83 folks, 83 mile per hour wind gust. Earlier, just about 45 minutes ago, actually it was about 6:53, so coming up on about a half an hour to 40 minutes ago on that very powerful wind gust, and that is likely the reason why we have power outages reported across parts of Cerro Gordo County and across a large part of Iowa, not just affecting us here in North Iowa, but there's been reports of wind damage, powerful wind gusts in and around Interstate 80 west of Des Moines, back towards the Omaha area, Council Bluffs. So there's been a lot of stuff going on, active weather, not just for us, but across the entire state of Iowa, now moving into southern Minnesota. So while we are looking at that wind report of 83 mile per hour gusts, we also had some reports of some, at least some small branches down about 3 inches in diameter in and around the Mason City area, but there's also been reports of some larger trees down about 14 inches in diameter around Algona. So there's a lot of stuff going on around the area. Now, one thing I do want to keep in mind is if we do lose power, here at KIMT, we are going to stay on the air. We are going to be live on Facebook. You can join us on our Facebook Live page. If you lose power, you can always watch us on your phone. Make sure, if you haven't gotten affected by the storms yet, if you still have power, make sure your phone has a full charge so that way you can stay up to date on the latest weather information, whether it's warnings, whatever is happening for your local area as we continue to track these dangerous storms. And we're going to stay live on air as long as we can. If we lose power, that's one thing, but we're going to stay live on Facebook and also on our website as we're tracking just these dangerous line of thunderstorms moving on through. And what you'll notice now, it looks like they did extend that warning to the north and east. Where you see that orange there, that is an extension of that severe thunderstorm warning that is now in effect. That includes Rochester, Olmsted County, pretty much, I guess you'd say all of Olmsted County included in that severe thunderstorm warning, and all the way over towards Winona and parts of Fillmore County, Mower County, still in that severe thunderstorm warning as well. And that is what is now, I think, more concerning. I think that tornado warning is likely going to be allowed to expire because it doesn't look like we're seeing as a tight of rotation. So going to switch this over back to the radar picture just so you guys can see this entire line of thunderstorms moving on through and really just booking it at some pretty wild speeds. And what I'm going to do now, this is going to bear with me just for one moment. Actually, we just got a new tornado warning that has been issued. This is affecting Howard County.
Okay.
So this has just got issued. So if you are watching us right now, we have a brand new tornado warning for Howard County. This is going to be affecting areas such as Cresco, Elma, Lime Springs, Vernon Springs. This is in effect until 7:45 p.m. So this is looks like it's a rather short tornado warning, but still a tornado warning in itself, and you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. We've been talking about the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect and around this area. So while we're looking at powerful wind gusts, keep in mind we are watching this now brand new tornado warning. So let's go ahead and switch it over to some of our products. So what we're looking at here, this is a product we don't really show too often, but this is what we look at for potential debris. So there are some indications just in southeast of Maple Leaf there of potential for at least something showing up on the radar site. Whether that's debris, that's still to be determined, but there could at least be some particles showing up in and around the areas just in the southern part of the county that we are looking at.
And one thing I want to mention too is where we're seeing that kind of signature at the moment is directly over top of where the strongest winds are currently located here. I believe that's right there over Lord. Yep. I believe, yeah, that would,
right
along
around
Highway
there.
63.
Yeah, I mean you can see, I mean all that dark blue. I mean that's some pretty significant winds that are potential. So aside from the tornado impact, yes, we are going to track that potential tornado if we get a confirmation. We will certainly let you know about that. But while that is still happening, there is just very powerful winds that are currently moving through. And this is just another update. We're still seeing some indication right in there crossing Highway 63, US Highway 63, north-southbound, moving across the highway. Not saying this is a confirmed tornado, but this is one of the products we look at to see if there is any potential tornado that could be on the ground. Because the thing to keep in mind, folks, is while we're looking at this, it is still dark. It is nighttime. We're in December. It gets dark pretty early, and these storms are moving so quickly. There's so much rain with them as well that you're not going to be able to see a tornado coming. So that is why you need to take these very seriously. Do not go out on your porch. I know the sirens may be going off where you live right now if you are in that tornado warning.
Aaron,
but stay inside.
Tornado on the ground with this storm right now.
Okay, so there is a confirmed tornado on the ground. That would be crossing US Highway 63. Again, where we saw that area of rotation, that signature we were just looking at. Go ahead and switch it over to the velocity mode. I'll just step on camera. I want you to look at some more of the reports from the National Weather Service. I just want to show everyone what we are looking at here in and around just areas south and east of Maple Leaf there. This is affecting areas north and east of Elma, south and west of Vernon Springs. It has just crossed. It looks like it did just cross Highway 63. It's approaching areas around 150th Street, where we are seeing that area of pretty strong rotation, and that is why I believe the National Weather Service did confirm a tornado on the ground.
Yeah, basically what their newest report that they just came out, I'm going to name off some locations here potentially impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Marsh County Park, Vernon Springs County Park, Saratoga, Davis Corners, Maple Leaf, Vernon Springs, and Bon Air.
Okay, so this is, again, this is what we are looking at. This is where the potential tornado would be. It has likely now crossed Highway 63. This radar that we're looking at here, it updates about every 5 minutes or so. So it has been at least a few minutes since we got our last update. But what you can see there is where we see some of that green shown up there, more on this higher end scale or towards the lower end. So this is where we get different sizes of particles, the potential for debris. That's why we called it our debris tracker, that we could be looking at some sort of rotation there, but also potentially a tornado on the ground that could be picking up at least some particles, some dirt, some dust, and maybe even some some of the fields out there, some of the dead cornfields out there that could be picking up some of that stuff and moving even some small branches around. And so that is what we are looking at with that area of rotation. And it looks like we did get an update there where that rotation is currently centered. They're now crossing, or has already crossed. It is now to the east of Highway 63. It is going to be moving towards the Vernon Springs area. Vernon Springs got you about another 5 minutes. So if you live in and around Vernon Springs, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. If you're watching us right now in Vernon Springs, go stay inside. Do not look out the front door. Go down to your basement. If you don't have a basement, go to the most interior part of your house. If that's a closet, if that is a bathroom, no windows, just put as many walls between you and the outside. That is what's going to keep you safe if
confirmed tornado, meaning that there has not been an actual spotter that has seen it on the ground. It is a radar confirmed tornado, meaning that the radar products that the National Weather Service uses, based on the data that they are getting in, is enough to understand that there could be a possible tornado on the ground, and that's why they have confirmed that, at least for right now. So again, as Aaron mentioned, it's a rather ragged looking couple. It's not exactly a very tight couplet at the moment. So that's one thing we are watching, especially here just south of Vernon Springs, and the direction that it is moving at the moment is off towards the northeast. So Aaron, if you could zoom in just a little closer to this for me, maybe get some roads here for our viewers here. So around 63, right behind me there, if you could go just a little up there. What is that? Robin Avenue. It's moving off towards the northeast if this is on the ground.
Yeah,
now one thing I want to mention here is that it is more radar confirmed by the National Weather Service. And I want to repeat that again. It's not an actual spotter on the ground that has seen this. It is radar confirmed tornado, meaning that the products that the National Weather Service uses, such as the velocity and that debris that we were just looking at, the debris tracker, was enough for them to come out with the conclusion that we do have the potential for a tornado to be on the ground. If that was the case right now, you are seeing that green kind of wrapping around the darker blues as well, just to the north of 150th Street there, now moving across Robin Avenue. So if you live along Robin Avenue or along 9th, you could be seeing that. So there we go. We just got another update as well. It's not very tight as it was. It's rather stretched out, meaning that it's likely, if there is any debris on this right now, it's being stretched out because of those outflow winds that we have been tracking, those straight line winds. So even though that we are seeing some of these tornado warnings, we're also seeing wind gusts enough that can do damage to homes and even any other buildings as well.
Yeah, and I think what we might be seeing here with that picture that you were just pointing out there with the debris tracker, our correlation coefficient is what it's properly called, with these powerful winds that are coming through, aside from that tornado threat, I think there may be just the winds might be just picking up just some dirt and dust. There's a lot of that we saw in parts of Nebraska and Kansas, so there might just be some other particles that are being lofted into the air by just general straight line winds, and maybe there could still be a tornado. That's why we have a tornado warning in effect, but there could just also be a lot of powerful winds.
Now what we can do at the moment, Aaron, if you could zoom out for me, I want to get some of the towns that are in front of this at the moment. So obviously Vernon Springs, I believe Cresco was just to the north there as well of this line. Still see that tornado warning there, but one thing to note is, Aaron, if you could zoom in a little closer to it, and this might be a reason why we're seeing that stretched out kind of signature on that correlation coefficient, that debris tracker, is notice how this storm is starting to bow. It's starting to bow out. So these could be outflow winds that are stretching that debris out, or straight line winds. So we may not even have a tornado on the ground. We might just have winds strong enough to produce something similar. Now, one thing I do want to note is it looks like it is kind of trying to wrap itself in here just along 63 as well, and making its way off still towards the northeast. So as Aaron just pointed, you're going to see winds continuing to wrap into the backside of this storm. That's where it's starting to get its fuel, something known as the inflow. It's this back area right through here where kind of just stronger air is trying to wrap into the storm, allowing for it to continue to fuel itself. So I would not be surprised if this tornado warning is continued for just a little bit longer, but we'll continue to monitor this as it continues to move south of Lime Springs and north of Vernon Springs as well. But if we could just take a larger look, looks like we have more severe thunderstorm warnings across the region here.
Yeah, we have seen these warnings basically extending from all the way through southern parts of Minnesota, all the way into pretty much all of eastern Iowa. Now these have crossed almost crossing the entire state of Iowa. They moved through northwest Iowa, down through Omaha, Council Bluffs, and now are making their way across the eastern part of the state of Iowa. And we still have several severe thunderstorm warnings that remain in effect. Let's go start with we'll kind of start from north to south, because these are some pretty dangerous thunderstorms that are now moving in and around the Rochester, Olmsted County.
We're hearing the thunder here. We're hearing the thunder at the station, so that means these storms are right on top of us. But one thing to note here is while these storms may not have the best presentation, they are rather ragged, which means they could be producing some stronger winds as well. So Aaron's pulling up the severe thunderstorm warning here, set until 8:15. So we still got a little ways to go here until this is set to expire, currently around 7:36 right now at the moment. It was issued around 7:30 here for areas like, I believe, Rochester, probably Stewartville, Casson. Is that set for all of Olmsted County, Aaron?
Yeah, so this is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. It includes Olmsted County, it includes western Winona County, southwestern Wabasha County, Dodge County, Fillmore County until 8:15. And what we're looking at is the hazard is potential for wind gusts of 70 miles per hour. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some wind gusts of over 80, 85 miles per hour because the storms are moving north to northeast at 85 miles per hour. So they're booking it through Olmsted County, through Mower County, through Fillmore County, eventually going to be moving in and around St. Charles, moving through the Chatfield area. Pretty much right now, we can hear a few rumbles of thunder here at KIMT in Rochester. We're getting some rain at the moment. Likely going to be getting some pretty strong wind gusts coming on through. And I do believe since we are tracking these storms moving through the Rochester, Olmsted County area at the moment, we do have live reporters out in the field. We had Anthony Monzon in Albert Lea. We talked with Alex Juergens just a bit ago in and around Mason City and Clear Lake. We also have Mary Peters. She is live just outside the station here in Rochester. And she's going to go ahead and give us an update on what she's seeing out there as we're tracking some rain and a lot of wind moving on through.
Yeah, Aaron, the wind has definitely picked up out here. Even from just a few minutes ago, we grabbed a sandbag to make sure that our camera would stay safe. But as you can see behind me, well, not right now, but there was a lot of lightning. You might see it coming up shortly. The wind is really coming in. It's really coming down strong. The rain, everything is starting to pick up. So we will see what happens here, but it's definitely, the elements are starting to kick in. It feels a little bit eerie out here. Rain is coming down hard. We have a lot of wind. And there has been some lightning. You can kind of see it in the distance. There were a few big strikes not too long ago. So we'll keep an eye on it for you here. Live in Rochester, Mary Peters, KIMT News 3.
All right, thank you, Mary, for that report. And like you saw there, we had some pretty good winds coming through the Rochester area. Mary, come back inside because we are tracking some pretty dangerous storms that are currently moving through much of southeast Minnesota and into North Iowa. And what we just got is a new tornado warning that is now basically moving to the north and east. This is a brand new tornado warning. This includes areas around Harmony, Lanesboro. This is affecting areas around Preston, basically Highway 52. This is for Fillmore County. This is going to be going until about, I believe, 7:45, maybe 8 o'clock, or probably a little bit longer than that, 8:15 or so on this brand new tornado warning stepping out of the way. 7:45 on the old tornado warning, but if we can look at the new one, we have that tornado warning that has now been extended to the north and east into parts of Fillmore County. And that's going to be affecting areas to the areas around Fillmore County, just south and east of Spring Valley on this new tornado warning that is in effect until 8:15. So 8:15 for this brand new tornado warning that just got issued by the National Weather Service. Areas east of Spring Valley, this is affecting Preston. This is affecting Harmony. This is going to be affecting Rushford and areas just to the west of Spring Grove in central and eastern Fillmore County, crossing Highway 52 there for this tornado warning. So if we zoom into it a little bit, looking at the overall radar picture, you can see that there's a pretty solid line of thunderstorms that's, in addition to the tornado threat, is producing wind gusts of upwards of 75, 80 miles per hour. And it looks like there is at least some rotation. We're having a hard time to pick out with the overall radar product, kind of battling two different radar sites, but at least there is some indication that we could be talking about a little bit of rotation there just east of Lime Springs, north of Vernon Springs, and that's what's going to be moving towards areas around Harmony.
Now, one thing I do want to mention here is this is coming from the National Weather Service. I'm going to name off some towns here that are in the path of this tornado warning. Canton could see this around 7:45, Preston 7:50, Lanesboro 7:55, and Rushford around 8 p.m. So if you are in any of these towns, that also includes areas like Hudson, Peterson, County Roads, West 14, and even 34 and Rushford villages as well. If you are in these areas, make sure you are taking your precautions now, especially your tornadic precautions as this storm continues to move off towards the northeast here. We'll start to move past areas like Fillmore, and we're going to zoom in a little closer to some more towns here as well. Harmony.
You can see just south of Preston here. This is where the core. This is where just south and west of Harmony. That's where we're seeing the core of the stronger winds, or where we could be talking about at least a potential tornado. But this entire line is producing some fairly powerful winds of in excess of 60 miles per hour. So while we have the tornado warning in effect, there still remains a severe thunderstorm warning in effect as well for not just a tornado, but just a lot of stuff going on with this whole extension, this whole line of thunderstorms that is currently moving through from North Iowa, now crossing the border into southern Minnesota. And if we do, in fact, get a confirmation of a tornado on the ground in Fillmore County, this would be the first tornado recorded in Minnesota in the month of December. So we are talking about potential record-breaking weather. We've already saw that today, and this is just a powerful storm system that's moving through the region right now.
Now, one thing I want to mention too is if you are in these towns such as Bristol, Harmony, even towards Rushford Village, Canton, Preston, you're going to make sure you want to get even into the lowest place of your home. So hall, closet, bathroom, stairs, anywhere that doesn't have windows would be the best place to take precaution as the storm continues to move off towards your city here. So one thing we also want to bring in here is also the debris tracker once again, because that debris has still kind of showed off, if it's still debris actually,
there's
being
definitely something there. Definitely something there.
And this is moving right now along look at that, Highway 139, even into Minnesota 44 towards Harmony, Canton, even towards areas like Amherst and Hutton. Bristol just moved through Granger, so we're going to be tracking to see if there's any reports coming out of Granger as this system moves forward. But it's a rather stretched out debris signature, if it is one in fact, meaning that more or less straight line winds are coming out of the storm and kicking up some of that dust, maybe any debris that might be on the ground as well. So we're going to continue to track this as it moves off towards the north and east, and really just look at the velocity here. All these bright blues are heavy winds moving towards the radar site. Right now we are using the radar site from La Crosse, and you can just see how strong these winds are at the moment.
Yeah, we're getting we're getting slowly closer to the radar site. That at least the storms are getting closer to the radar site, so it's going to give us a better picture the closer the storms are to the actual radar in La Crosse right now. So that's why it's not looking as ragged as it was, but looking at a pretty well-defined storm structure there that's currently situated in southern Fillmore County, now about to move into Harmony. So if you live in Harmony, this is right on your doorstep. You have like less than a couple minutes before this storm moves in. It is arriving right now. You need to be in your tornado safe place now, because we could be talking about a tornado potentially on the ground or even some very powerful wind gusts, okay? So if you live in and around Harmony, we got US 52, Minnesota 44 there. So right where those two highways and Minnesota 44 intersect, just south of Harmony there, that is where we have a tornado warning that remains in effect, and just a powerful storm that is about to move into Harmony or moving in right now. So you need to be in the lowest level of your home. If that's a basement, if you don't have a basement, put as many walls between you and the outside. That's just going to be keeping you the safest. If that's an interior closet, a bathroom, no windows, while we wait out this tornado warning that is currently moving through Fillmore County. You can see Ryan just drew this in here. This is what we're getting. We're getting some outflow on the backside of the thunderstorm. We got inflow, we got southerly winds ahead of the storm, and this is where we're looking at that area of rotation right in there. It looks like there's kind of maybe a couple areas on this line that there could be at least a little bit of rotation there back to the west, just north of Bristol there, and maybe that's what we're going to be watching here too, but also right in and around Harmony, potential couple areas of some strong rotation.
Now, this is something we're going to continue to watch here, especially as it moves across Highway 52 into Harmony, Preston. Still has some other areas as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a time here for some of these strongest winds. We'll go a little farther out here. That way we can get a good amount, because
and you can see
this
the
line in
edge
general
there,
is moving anywhere between 70 to even close to 80 miles per hour.
Yeah, these storms are booking it, so this is going to be taking it pretty much across the entire county. We've already seen some pretty good winds in southwestern Fillmore County. This is going to take it all the way across, and that's going to affect Fillmore, Preston, Chatfield, Pilot Mound, Lanesboro, into Rushford over the course of the next 20 to 30 minutes or so, as these storms are pretty much booking it at 75 to 80 miles per hour. And that's some of the winds that we could be talking about. I know we're kind of focused in on the tornado aspect of it, but these are still, whether it's a tornado or not, they're still dangerous storms that are producing wind gusts in excess of 70 and maybe even upwards of 80 miles per hour. We saw that. We had a recorded wind gust in Mason City at the Mason City Municipal Airport of 83 miles per hour. That's what we can expect with these dangerous thunderstorms that are currently moving on through. Like, stepping outside, you may hear it in our microphone. We got a few rumbles of thunder here in the Rochester area, where we're tracking that line of thunderstorms moving off to the north and northeast into parts of Olmsted County. But still, that tornado warning remains of pretty good concern as we're watching that in southeastern Minnesota.
Now, one thing I want to point out here, and this is where we could probably see some of the strongest winds of the storm at the moment. Notice this little kind of, I guess you'd call it more of a inflow notch. If I can get the arrow to pop up here for us. This area right in here, this little notch that we're looking at the moment, could be where we're seeing some of those stronger winds, I should say, entering into this storm. Because if we go back and we look at our velocity product, we could see kind of right where these kind of winds are wrapping into this storm at the moment. And that's why the National Weather Service is still keeping this as a potential tornado warning, just because it's getting a good amount of inflow into the area. And I'll have Aaron actually go back a little bit to the radar and even zoom out just a little bit more here as we watch this. So there's that inflow right there. It looks like we just got an update, but zoom up, or yeah, go up just a little bit there. Yeah, it'd be right in here where we could be seeing maybe the potential for some of that wrapping around of this storm, especially some of our stronger winds. But even if it's not a tornado on the ground, which it hasn't been confirmed yet, we are looking at strong straight line winds out ahead of it. So Aaron, if you could pull up that debris tracker for us once more, just to see where that kind of line is. See, it's kind of scattered now. So we're seeing just probably a lot of dust and dirt being picked up from these straight line winds and being ingested into this storm at the moment. So we're not seeing anything. It looks like we have another severe thunderstorm warning, and those are just going to continue as we push over really the next hour or so here. Pushing now into Pine Island, it looks like. If we could pull that back up. Casson, Marion, Rochester. So again, Dodge, Fillmore, Olmsted, and even into Winona County as we push here through into 8:15 here. Current time right now is about 7:48. So we still have a little bit of ways to go here till these severe thunderstorm warnings are set to expire. We're taking a look here too at the National Weather Service chat to see if they have anything else coming in. Looks like we did receive a report here from a Mesonet device in Mower County. It looks like it's east-northeast Dexter, reports of a wind gust up to 73 miles per hour. So we're seeing strong wind gusts here in
And
Mower.
that was in Dexter. Okay, correct, so that is basically pretty much along Interstate 90. So these are the same storms that are moving through Mower County into Olmsted County, Fillmore County. So while we were talking about that tornado threat, we are also still seeing dangerous wind gusts. And what you're looking at right now, this is a live picture over downtown Rochester. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just so we can kind of look at the city a little bit more and what we're seeing inside and around central Olmsted County. You're looking at that live eye there. Pretty much situated near RPU, just north and east of downtown. We're looking back towards the south-southeast towards downtown. Getting a lot of rain, likely getting some wind. You can see there's a bit of lightning out there as well.
No.
And we're tracking just that wind that's going to be making its approach pretty quickly into Olmsted County.
Now, we did just get a report in from Harmony that there was a recorded from a trained weather spotter in Fillmore about a funnel cloud being reported over Harmony. So trained weather spotter has confirmed that there was a funnel cloud. The National Weather Service has put this back out as well. We're going to zoom in a little closer here.
Yep, and it looks like they added a new tornado warning there.
Exactly. So where that funnel cloud was spotted appears to be, again, right where this kind of inflow notch is. This is where we could be seeing that wrapping effect occurring in that storm right here, just to the kind of northwest of Norway, pushing off again towards the northeast, and it looks like it'll be moving just south of Rushmore, if not directly over Rushmore.
And we are getting some powerful wind gusts here in Rochester right now. The wind is whipping. I can hear it just outside the studio. So we may, if we lose power, we're going to try to stay on air as long as we can, but there's potential that we could lose power here at the studio, but we're going to try to stay on air with this as long as we can. I'm going to step back just to look at the radar picture. So again, we are looking at a lot of things going on here, and what we are tracking is that dangerous line of thunderstorms, and you can likely hear the rain, you can likely hear the wind through Ryan's microphone. I don't know if you have it. If the
tornado warning right here for Rochester.
Yep, we have the new tornado warning. This new tornado warning, you can see that couplet there, just south and southeast of Rochester. This is for Olmsted County, so this is the brand new tornado warning that has now just been issued for Olmsted County until 8:15 p.m. So this is a dangerous thunderstorm, a dangerous area of the thunderstorm. They've pretty much highlighted it there just north and east of Stewartville. This would be affecting areas just on the south and east, south side of town of Rochester, areas near the Target, near some of the apartment complex, the Marcus Cinema down on the south side of Rochester, near that tornado warning just east. I'm going to switch this over to the velocity picture, and you can see this is one of the more well-defined areas of rotation that we have seen pretty much all this evening there in around basically crossing Interstate 90 near Marion and crossing nearby U.S. Highway 52. So this is a dangerous storm that could potentially be producing a tornado not too far away from Rochester. If you live in Rochester, if you live in Stewartville, Marion, you need to be in your tornado safe place right now. This is a dangerous thunderstorm that is currently moving through central and eastern parts of Olmsted County. Okay, there is your rotation. You can see the dark red. You can see that bright blue. This is where we're looking at a potential tornado developing. There has not been a confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but that could quickly change as we're tracking this storm moving to the north and east, affecting areas around Marion. Rochester proper not included in the tornado warning, but it is still so close that if you live in Rochester, if you live in the city of Rochester, I want you to take your tornado precautions right now because it is so quick that we could see areas of rotation developing on this entire line in the span of about 5 minutes, just like we saw with this area of rotation developing there around Marion, basically where Highway 52 and I-90, the Interstate 90, U.S. Highway 52 interchange is actually right around Marion and areas to the north and east. So this would be affecting Highway 52, U.S. Highway 52 heading out towards St. Charles, heading out towards the Viola area and eastern parts of Olmsted County. This is a dangerous thunderstorm that is currently moving through. And Sean, I would say, I mean, this is probably one of the more significant radar signatures or velocity signatures that we've seen pretty much this evening in terms of tornadoes.
Yeah, no doubt. This one is fairly strong across the, really moving across Highway 52 right now. We've been seeing these rotation couplets all day long. This one's a little stronger than what we've seen so far, and we're going to keep an eye on it. But right now, this is continuing to move through parts of eastern Olmsted County. If you're anywhere east of Rochester and Olmsted County, you need to be taking shelter now. And also, I do want to mention that
update on the radar product too. There, if you clear out the track there,
I
think we got a new update on the velocity picture. I just want to kind of see what the couplet looks like.
Sure thing.
Right there. So if you zoom back in, you can still see there is maybe not as well defined. I mean, there's still definitely some rotation now, probably crossing just north of Interstate 90, still and now north of U.S. Highway 52. But they're right in around Marion. If you live in Marion, in and around that area, some of the farms and anyone out in the country, just north of Marion, you need to be in your tornado safe place now. Basement, central part of your house that's away from windows, closet, bathroom, whatever you can do, stay safe during this tornado warning, as these are just dangerous storms that are currently moving through Olmsted County. We had a pretty good wind gust here at the station on the northwest side of Rochester, but the tornado warning is still a pretty big focus there in southeastern or central and southeastern parts of Olmsted County. Ryan.
72-mile-per-hour wind recorded in Casson.
Okay, 72-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that's in Casson, so just west of Rochester. That may be some of the similar gusts that we just saw hitting the studio just a moment ago.
I also do want to say that we had a report of a blown-up barn, a completely destroyed barn in Manly.
Okay.
So we are dealing with damage across the area, and the power outages are increasing. And we actually do have the power outages across the area ready to pull up. So if our producers, if you want to go ahead and just take the power outages, it might be in Iowa or Minnesota first. This is in this looks like southern Minnesota currently, and we are right now a lot of power outages, especially when you work just east of Albert Lee, where there was that really strong wind gust that rolled through. So yeah, that's a lot of power outages, especially towards parts like Austin, and you get down towards places like Adams and Leroy, and I'm sure that is going to be extended. You're going to see the same thing towards parts of Rochester, Spring Valley, and down towards parts of Fillmore County as well. We also have the Iowa the Iowa outage map as well, and North Iowa dealing with a lot of power outages. Some counties worse than others. I've been following along on Facebook with a lot of people, and a lot of people are saying that they are dealing with some power out, or at least the power flickering where they are.
I think the power flickered a little bit. I heard some clicking in the studio about 20 minutes ago when we had some of those flashes of lightning. So it's definitely a concern. I mean, we've been talking about this all day today. Sean was on this morning on Daybreak and Midday, talk about the potential for power outages, and this is what we are facing now. This is now a reality with these dangerous thunderstorms that are currently moving through across southeast Minnesota and even into northeast Iowa. Looking at some of the reports across the area, there actually, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but about a few minutes ago, there was a report at the Rochester International Airport of a 78-mile-per-hour gust.
78-mile-per-hour gust. That's over hurricane force, everybody. And we saw 83 miles per hour in Mason City, 78 in Rochester. I'm